World champion, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. Yeah.
That he might be the toughest opponent, the toughest challenger you've had during your reign as WBC champion?
My toughest challenge is myself. I never focus on my opponent. You know, my toughest challenge is preparing myself to the best of my ability. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's going to bring his physical best. He has everything to gain and nothing to lose. But I feel like we need a little more than that.
What's going to be the difference?
Speed, punching power, ring generalship, boxing IQ. All day in the frame.
You have two of your younger brothers fighting on this card. It's always a family affair with your dad training you. Talk a little bit about what your long-range plans are that include your brothers. Because the Kameda brothers are the only three brothers who have all held world titles. But the Russells might be right behind you.
We definitely might be right behind him. I believe that we can definitely make that happen, and I want to be able to be the set of brothers that help me get right.
Cool. Do they pay you? They give you a little something?
I don't need my brother to pay me. I do it for free. I do it for fun. You know, it's something that I enjoy doing, and supporting my younger brothers is definitely what I want to do. You know, and hopefully, he can get these W's come tomorrow night.
We wish you luck, Gary.
I'm going to get to the Gary Russell Jr. card in a second, but let me start off with the Florida State Seminoles football. I think new head coach Mike Norvell did a solid job recruiting, considering what he was faced with. They got a top 20 class, and he did it with very limited time and after being named a new coach once the season started. Once the season finished. It was like, okay. So we lost out on some early opportunities, but I think they bounced back pretty well. I'm excited about Brian Robinson, the wide receiver. I think he's going to do some good things in the school. Stephen Dix Jr., the linebacker. Damari Tate, who's probably the highest ranked signee at cornerback. We got a dual threat quarterback, Chubba Purdy, and a pocket passer, and Tate Rodemaker. I think we got a sleeper running back in Lawrence Toafili. And then we got Corey Wren, who might be the fastest kid in the nation out of high school. Kentron Portier, 6'3", nice size wide receiver. We got some help on the offensive line, which that's big because Florida State's quarterbacks over the past, I'll say 3 years or so, have gotten mugged. And it's due to poor offensive line play. So we addressed that. And listen, we didn't address it with 5-star guys or even 4-star guys. However, it's a need that was addressed that was skipped over prior years. And I don't need the line to play great. I don't even need them to play good. If they can just play decent, kind of hold it together, they we'll be able to use that as leverage for incoming classes. We got Darian Williamson, who can play multiple positions. T.J. Davis, linebacker. D.J. Lundy, who can play multiple positions. Jadarius McKnight, a safety. and Sidney Williams, who might be a steal at cornerback or safety. Sidney Williams, you know, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Nebraska, and Tennessee wanted this guy. And he's a guy who had some injuries that he fought through and had to rehabilitate. But as a result, those schools backed off. And we didn't. We meaning Florida State. So I think he's going to do big things, and he has a chip he'll be playing with. So another impressive thing is that a lot of these guys were Willie Taggart guys who stayed after he was let go. And that says a lot for the program as well as Coach Norvell to get them to stay. So we lost a wide receiver who would have probably made us a top 15 class. Very athletic wide receiver. And I mean athletic, like he could do some special things. He was committed to the school from the start and then just changed his mind at the final hour to go to Tennessee. Wherever he went, when now we know it's Tennessee, he would have played basketball and football. So I think it's a mistake because FSU basketball is now top 5 and has a couple solid recruits coming in next year that'll keep them highly ranked next year. And I would have loved him to be part of the building block for football simultaneously. He could have been Charlie Ward revisited. So Malachi Wideman, sorry we lost you. I think it's a mistake, but I wish you well. All right. Gary Russell Jr. defends his title against TUG Niambiar. Now Niambiar he's called King Tug for short, which is a play on King Tut. So for the purpose of this video, I'll just go with King. Gary Russell Jr. has to be careful. Not merely with King, but sometimes when you take your eye off the prize, or you keep it on another prize, I'll say, it turns out bad for you. You get beat. Russell Jr. is talking about Leo Santa Cruz and Gervonta Davis fights. And he says if he wins on Saturday, he'll vacate his belt at 126 and jump 2 weight classes to 135 to go after the big names there. He talks about nobody wanting to fight him at 126 and also no challenges for him at 130. All that's cool. All of that is cool. I get it. However, he should be 100% focused on his fight Saturday. And I know people are like, oh man, this is Gary Russell Jr. and he's fighting another nobody who people haven't heard of. Excuse me. But King is a live dog. He's a live dog. Trust me. He's 11-0, 9 knockouts, whereas Russell is 30-1 with 18 knockouts. King has been in there with Claudio Marrero and Oscar Escandon. So there's a common opponent. He stopped Oscar in 3 rounds. Russell Jr. stopped Oscar in 7. Excuse me. But you know how we always say boxing's not always triangular. Gary is about 5'4". King is like 5'8". So he's tall for the weight class. And he has a reach advantage of at least 2 inches also. Man, something I was eating went down wrong. Let me take a little swig of this water. All right. So we're let me see. So he got a reach advantage. What else I want to say? So King, he has a good track record. So he was a silver medalist in the World Championships, and then he also won silver in the Olympics. And now he gets his shot at Russell Jr.'s featherweight belt. In this fight, I think the height and reach will puzzle Gary. It'll be a puzzle for Gary to try to solve. King is an excellent fighter, has a very good right hand, and so he'll try to use it as a southpaw killer. He's got good footwork, and I think he's going to try to play pressure boxer in this one to try to get Russell Jr. to move. All right. Now, the trade-off with that, when King gets aggressive, he sometimes leaves himself there to be hit, which is what Russell Jr. is counting on. And ordinarily, I'd say an opponent needs to try to punch in between shots. So Gary should try to punch in between King's shots, but Gary's hands are so fast. He'll just throw them and look to land between or at the same time. It doesn't make him a lot of difference because he's just so lightning with his punches. Gary needs to get in. Gary needs to fight like 3 or 4 times this year. I mean, I just don't like his inactivity. And now Gary is, he's at least 31, I think. 32. I know he was 30. When was that fight? Because I remember him. So, well, he's somewhere between 30 and 33. Let's put it that way. But I know it has to be 31 because that was over a year. So, somewhere between 31 and 33. All right. In this fight, there could be a couple explosive moments. Gary believes his speed will neutralize King. King thinks his movement will offset the speed enough to catch Gary. What happens if he can't make Gary move or Gary doesn't come forward? I think Gary will elect to stay in the pocket as he's accustomed to, but I'm not so sure how this will work in this fight against King. I think Gary will have to move in this fight more than he wants to. I think King is going to work him. Will Gary's movement be backward or forward? That's the question for me. Could this fight be a surprise like Forrest versus Mosley 1, where the style of King surprises the favorite Russell Jr.? Unlike Deontay Wilder, King throws combinations and just doesn't have a big right hand. He has a big right hand, but he throws combinations. He tries to line you up for the right hand. This has the potential to be a good fight with Russell having to dig down deep if he wants to keep his belt. That's kind of like what I'm leaning toward. Now, it could be an explosive fight with a couple of knockdowns or maybe a TKO or something like that, but I think he's going to make Gary work. I think this is going to be decent. The key in this one, however, will be how he handles Gary's speed. If he can do that and go to the body to try to take those legs. If you watch the Joseph Diaz Jr., Jojo Diaz versus Russell, I don't know what it sounded like on television, but watching it live, man, those body shots, boy, man. Russell, Jojo got his money's worth, man. He's hitting Russell with some body shots. Also, King has to get off to a good start and then make the adjustments as Gary Russell Jr. makes his. I'll go with Gary Russell Jr. by a close decision, although I like King as a live underdog. Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Laborio Solis is a fight where there's this old man, right? Older than most people think. He got hit a lot in one of his last fights. I'm not sure if it was his last fight or not. I don't have anything in front of me to say so, but the old boy was tagging Rigo, man. And then Rigo came back and stopped the guy. In this fight, as old as Rigo is and as active as Solis is, I like Guillermo. To me, Solis is just too slow and wide. I think he's going to get countered. And even if he's up in the fight like the other guy, and Rigo is that much older, he's going to get caught with a shot. And although Solis has never been stopped, there's a chance here. So I'll go with Rigo by decision or late stoppage in this one. Okay? What else, man? I checked out Jared Hurd it's been a couple weeks, right? A couple weeks ago. Let me just say this. He's not going to win the big fights with the style he used against Santana. Francisco Santana. Hey, he got rounds in, but listen, Jared is what we've seen. I never thought I'd say this, but he's going to get smoked faster with that style we saw a couple weeks ago than his regular style that we've seen over the years. Jared needs to be who he is, taking a shot or two to get his shots off. And unfortunately, that's what works for him. Probably because he never had the appropriate development, and now at or around age 30, I'm not sure how old he is, but he didn't have much of an amateur career. I think he had like 30-something fights or something. I don't have the total in front of me, but I know he had a winning record, but not the background to develop him. So, and you quite honestly, you might say he's overachieved. Listen, Hurd's old style will cause him to get hit more, but he's not going to beat anyone of note with this new thing. I'm sorry. It's just not him. The Stephen Fulton versus Arnold, what was his name? Kagai? That was decent. That was a decent fight. I thought it was closer than 117, 111. It was a good test for Fulton to pass. And now he's going to look for something big. Personally, I think he should slow it down a bit. Get a few more fights in this year, and then one of those eliminators, and then a title shot. Instead of it going that route, it'll probably be a vacant. See, I don't count these. It'll probably be a fight for a vacant title where the other guy will be some joker. And it's like, okay, you got yourself a belt. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm thinking maybe at the end of 2021 for him. Like, if you're going to do something, get a few more fights. Get a few more after that in 2021. And then toward the end, go ahead and get your eliminator or your whatever. 2021 seems, I mean, you know these prospects and these teams, they're teams, so everybody's in a rush. So we'll see. We'll see. Danny Garcia, he needed the rounds against Ivan Redkach to knock the rust off. I kind of fought the sleep off, hoping I'd see something late in that fight. And instead, Danny was out there fighting like he just learned how to set up punches a week ago or something. So maybe those rounds helped him. So he gets Manny Pacquiao or Errol Spence Jr. next, it seems. We'll see. So we'll check you out from Allentown, Pennsylvania tomorrow. The fight's tomorrow on Showtime at 9 o'clock p.m. I'm not sure about Showtime Extreme and undercard fights and all that, but we'll check you out and catch you later.